So this is also my first trip to Australia, and a colleague of mine told me, don't go to Australia. I said, why? Because you will fall in love with the country, and then you, and that will be terrible for your future. So, and this is true. I'm here now since a week, and I've enjoyed any minute. So what I would like to share with you is the fact that I will give you a European view on space industry. In Europe, we are really today at the crossroad, and we can observe a number of elements, and I would like to share with you five of those. The first one is that the environment in which the space industry is operating is changing. The market for satellite, for telecommunication, which is and was the main commercial market for space infrastructure, as was presented by Giuseppe some minutes ago, is experiencing a decrease that is mostly due to the competition from terrestrial means, multimedia for broadcasting. The SATCOM industry is actually moving into an area of unprecedented capacity, but not necessarily followed by demand. The amount of broadband satellite bandwidth is set to boom by a factor of 4 by 2020, but demand will boom only by a factor of 3. Then the combined market value of the 5 largest satellite communication players that are Intelsat, Eutelsat, SES Astra, EchoStar, and Inmarsat is less than 1/3 of the value of Vodafone, just to give you a way to measure. However, what we see in front of us is new markets linked to mobility, linked to connectivity that will emerge. Internet for all, connected cars, Internet of Things, all this will require new capacity in low Earth orbit or medium Earth orbit rather than the geosatellites we have today. So we are confronted with a huge uncertainty. And this uncertainty is the moment where industry is. And of course, in front of uncertainty, what you need is flexibility from industry and from the operator. The European launcher sector, that is a very important one for Europe, is challenged to become more cost competitive. It is consolidating also. This significant realignment in the European space industry means that Airbus and Safran, the two largest industrial shareholders of Arianespace, have merged into a 50-50 joint venture that is called the Ariane Group. And Ariane Group is now the one in charge of building Ariane 5 and developing Ariane 6. The goal is to simplify the organization of industry within the Ariane production process, rationalize the cost structure, and create an integrate entity responsible for development through commercialization for the development and production of Ariane 6. This is for the launcher, telecom launchers. Now move to Earth observation sector. They also, the traditional model of collecting imagery and selling it is changing. Commercial customer want the intelligence derived from the satellite image, not the image. They want to use the intelligence, not the image themselves. Hence the creation of new Earth observation companies which are purchasing the imagery from several companies, analyze them, and provide information ranging to a number of new customers. So that is the first element, the first reflection. The world around the space industry is changing. We are adapting. The second one that you see in Europe is the increased vertical integration of the space sector. Integrated, the first step has been to integrate them at the level of the space manufacturing, but now this integration goes toward services, goes toward platform, and you see that with the Ariane Group, regrouping all the forces for telecom, for launchers. You see today with Thales Alenia Space, Telespazio, Space Flight Industries Alliance and joint venture, to develop a small, high-resolution satellite constellation for Earth observation. My third observation when looking at the European scene is that there is a huge increased pressure to be competitive in the worldwide sector. There is a globalization of space, is a reality. You have 60 countries now that are spending more than $10 million in the space program per year. This is twice as much as 15 years ago. So you see more and more actors, and we are of course welcoming Australia with the creation of the new Australian Space Agency as an important actor today and for the future. So this is the third element: increased competition from all around the world. The fourth element is the emergence of new space. This was mentioned by previous speakers, but this represents a radically different, commercially driven approach for space program development. This is illustrated by OneWeb, for example, and the newly inaugurated assembly line for OneWeb in Toulouse, in France, by Airbus, in the Airbus premises that I've seen, really impressive, which enables to deliver one satellite per day. Skybox Imaging, previously owned by Google, and Planet with their low-cost Earth observation satellites, or SpaceX with the Falcon family of launchers. All those are new ventures that are radically different to what we were used to do. Furthermore, in many of those programs, the space segment itself is based on new industrial processes, where the real added value lies in the ground segment and in the data processing. Space is not anymore a goal as such, but rather a tool to collect and acquire data, so to provide innovative services. Finally, looking at the organization of the European space sector itself, we see that the landscape is evolving. We have a number now of national, regional space initiatives. The European market may be seen as mature from a technology perspective, but it is less predictable from a commercial and from a governmental stakeholder standpoint. This multiplication of initiatives at regional, national, communitarian level, intergovernmental level is reflecting the evolution of the space governance in Europe. The majority of European national space spending still flows through ESA, reflecting a consensus that European countries alone cannot achieve what they can do when they are regrouping their force into a collective action. However, the European nation, and this was very visible during the AIC conference, are also investing in their own national capabilities, or they are re-evaluating ESA space spending through the prism of their domestic or socio-economic interest. Furthermore, and this was also very visible here, the European Union, via the European Commission, is now a mature actor in space. A fact likely to be reflected in the coming EU multi-annual financial framework for the years beyond 2020. This was announced yesterday by Pierre Delceau here in Adelaide, which is expect to see a further increase of the budget of the European Union. So this different level of public action in space, regional, national, communitarian for the European Union, intergovernmental within ESA, it need to be better coordinated. More cohesion of those actions will have to be organized. And this is a real challenge for all the different levels of responsible. In conclusions, those trends and challenges that are in front of the European industry and in front of the institutions of Europe will require that they will both reflect on their long-term strategies so as to make sure that they take into account this evolving landscape that I've just briefly described before your desert that is coming. The flexibility will be really the key word, and because at the same time what I've presented is a number of threats, but also a large number of opportunities. And I'm sure the space sector, being it in Europe, but also in Austria, will catch those opportunities. Thank you.